All right, the market's set then for Bryce Harper, or you have to go in and top 300 million. But it felt like there's already an offer there. You know, the Nationals were close to that, I believe, and then the Phillies are there. Are the Phillies negotiating against themselves now?
That is such a good question. And that is, honestly, I think what this is going to come down to. Is Bryce Harper going to wind up a Philadelphia Philly because they step up and, if not meet his asking price, then certainly put themselves in that zip code? Or are the Phillies going to say to themselves, we don't believe the Giants are willing to go 10 years. We don't believe that the Nationals are actually in this anymore. We see a landscape that is us and only us. And accordingly, why are we going to go well above $300 million, let alone at $300 million? And I think the answer to that, Dan, is because Bryce Harper is worth that. And there comes a point at which you want to pay the player fair value and the type of value that he's worth. And I think with all of the ancillary things Bryce Harper brings, in addition to the baseball stuff, he is worth $300 million plus. But the Phillies could stand a hard line here. And one person last night said this is going to be J.D. Martinez 2.0. The two make total sense for each other, but the Phillies aren't going to go to an outlandish number because they don't have to.
How many teams do you think are actually involved in this? You mentioned the Giants as well as the Phillies. Anybody else?
You know, I look at the Nationals, and I understand there are people up and down their baseball operations department who say, we're done with Bryce. We don't want Bryce here anymore. We've moved on. And yet I also understand that they're a train ride away from Philadelphia, that they're in the same division and fighting for playoff spots against the Phillies. And the idea that this player who they grew from the time he was 17 years old up to a big leaguer, an all-star every year, and a guy who's now going to get $300 million plus dollars, the fact that he would be in a different uniform in Nationals Park 3 times a year cannot sit well with them. So I'm not counting the Nationals out, Dan, until the ink is dry on the contract, because I feel like they're, you know, even though they've said publicly we're out, I just don't entirely believe that at this point.